A Denver elementary school is welcoming a new principal. It's a man who used to be a custodian in the same school district. Mika Smith has his story.
In his 38 years of life, Stedman Elementary School's new principal, Michael Atkins, has spent more than 30 years as a part of the Denver public schools system.
All of this stuff goes to 208.
His first job was as a student with no plans to stick around after graduation.
Growing up in Park Hill, there wasn't many positive influences and or opportunities in the neighborhood. So therefore, I didn't really have any aspirations to be in education.
But his dreams changed.
I wanted to see if we can go do a tour upstairs.
As he checks each classroom cleaned and ready for the upcoming school year, the instructions he gives his custodian
We need to swap the tables.
are not just coming from a place of management, but from experience during Atkins' second job with DPS.
I was the part-time custodian at Smiley Middle School, which is now McAuliffe, right up the street.
Part-time became full-time, and Atkins enjoyed his work.
There was times definitely where I got comfortable within my custodial position.
But he wanted something more. So at a time when just 2% of educators in the U.S. are African-American men, Atkins saw an opportunity to be something he needed as a student, a male role model.
A lot of my African-American male students remind me of me, right? And not to say that they're coming from the same situation that I came from, a household of a single mother, only engaging with my father once in my life, right? So not really having that rock, but needing that rock often in that time.
As he reflects on his journey from custodian to principal, Atkins remembers his grandmother's wise words.
Don't let someone write your story, make sure you write your own story. And if someone has something to do with your story, let them edit it, right? Do not let them create it.
As Atkins prepares for a new school year and yet another DPS position, he hopes to help edit dozens of unique stories that each student will carry with them as they walk through these doors.
A Colorado man accused of murdering the mother of his child will not face the death penalty. Patrick Frazee pleaded not guilty in May to first-degree murder in the death of Kelsey Barrett. She disappeared on Thanksgiving, and her body has still not been found. Following Frazee's plea, prosecutors had 90 days to file a motion stating their intent to pursue capital punishment in the case. That decision was explained on Friday.
We also put on the record that we are not seeking the death penalty in this case. We did consult with the Attorney General's office. It was their legal opinion that we had no aggravators that would make it past halftime. In other words, a judge's ruling that could support the death penalty in this case.
Frazee was in court on Friday for pretrial motions ahead of that trial, which starts October 28th. A marijuana mix-up left a Colorado woman in handcuffs facing prison time. She was arrested while transporting what looked and smelled like more than 100 pounds of marijuana, but those charges were dropped after it was discovered to be hemp. Rick Salinger has more on the Cannabis Confusion.
Which of these is pot and which is hemp? That's the point. It was May when a truck driving down I-70 in Eagle County was stopped for a traffic violation. Megan Meyer of Greeley was driving that truck and arrested on charges of transporting more than 100 pounds of pot.
Are they being told $1 million in fines, 30 years in prison? You're just sitting there in your handcuffs thinking, oh my God.
The boxes in the truck were taken as evidence, along with a container of oil.
Industrial hemp flower, like the product I was carrying, looks a lot like marijuana and it smells a lot like marijuana. The only way that you can tell the difference is through laboratory analysis of the THC content.
Hemp and marijuana are both cannabis plants, but hemp contains a much lower level of the psychoactive ingredient THC. Hemp is legal and now used to make CBD products. Eagle County District Attorney Bruce Brown says charges against Meyer are being dropped after the evidence was tested.
Well, we did some testing of the plant material that was seized from the vehicle that she was driving, and we determined that it appears that it's hemp and not marijuana.
He says since there is no roadside test, one alternative could be to give out a summons until the product can be tested. The 160 pounds of hemp seized will now be returned to its owner in the type of case that's more than likely to happen again. Along I-70, Rick Salinger, covering Colorado First.
Superheroes from the Marvel and DC universes came together in Aurora to cheer up young patients being treated at Children's Hospital. Spider-Man, Superman, and Catwoman were among those called in to make young patients and their families smile on Superhero Day. But the real heroes behind the masks are members of the Aurora Police Department SWAT team. They showed off some of their super skills by rappelling down the side of the building on Thursday before then heading inside to meet with patients who aren't mobile enough to watch through the windows. One officer with the Aurora Police Department tells us how it all got started.
About 2013, a woman who battled cancer and won approached the hospital, or they asked her if she had a wish list, and she said, well, I don't have a wish list anymore. I beat cancer, but it'd be nice to see superheroes rappel down Children's Hospital. And that's how our relationship started. We were approached, the Aurora SWAT team, and we were glad to accommodate them and start rappelling in superhero costumes. And it also enhances our skills, the necessary skill we need on the SWAT team.
Superhero Day has now become an annual event at Children's Hospital there in Aurora. The Deer Creek fire broke out on Tuesday, August 13th. More than 300 homes had to be evacuated while crews worked to contain the blaze. Sean Chitness talked to visitors at Deer Creek Canyon Park after it finally reopened late last week.
Burn scars in Deer Creek Canyon Park run right up to the trail, surrounding some picnic spots.
I was super surprised coming that close to it, walking actually in the burned up landscape.
For the past week, firefighters were visiting the park 2 to 3 times a day, making sure there weren't any hot spots, before the park reopened on Thursday. Elmar Fend likes to visit throughout the year. He noticed the lasting impact of the fire as soon as he arrived.
It still smells, it's like smoked bacon.
Only around 25 acres burned, but unlike most wildfires in remote locations, the flames came so close to where people visit, catching them off guard.
It's upsetting for sure. This is one of the most beautiful spots in the area, and yeah, to see it burned is sad.
Firefighters hope it serves as an example of the impact a wildfire can have so close to anyone's home, and the need to always be ready to respond.
You become much more aware of the potential that suddenly a fire starts somewhere.
A sign of the danger Colorado faces well after the summer is over. But with visitors' help and the right weather, this section will regrow.
We are the guardians of our beautiful mountain hiking environment here.
The family of a Colorado boy who was attacked by mountain lions while running in his own backyard has set up a GoFundMe account to help with medical expenses. The 8-year-old has undergone surgery and will now be getting additional treatment in the hospital after he was bit on the head by the animal Wednesday night. The boy's father says he managed to scare the mountain lion off while it was still on top of his son. Following the attack, wildlife officers set traps and searched for the animal. They wound up killing 2 mountain lions who had stolen and eaten a goat that belonged to another homeowner in the same neighborhood. Tests are being performed to determine which of those 2 mountain lions attacked the young boy. And not attacks, but mountain lion sightings can be fairly common in parts of Colorado, but one thing that you're not so likely to find is a marmot. Well, that's exactly what was found in a backyard in Wheat Ridge, and though Parks and Wildlife says it's a rare sight, it does still happen every once in a while. They say they get reports of these high country critters along the Front Range about 6 times each year, and getting the marmots back to the mountains is vital.
So we set up some traps. We added a camera to kind of see where he's coming from.
They may not know exactly where he came from, but the Heaton family knows exactly where he's going.
It's right to the chicken feeder.
Like clockwork, a hungry yellow-bellied marmot appears every morning. It's the best time to beat the chickens to the feeder.
Like 40 minutes in a row, he just sits there at the feeder and eats constantly.
Kayla Heaton has enough mouths to feed without the marmot, but she's glad she finally has footage of it. When she first told friends, they assumed she was just sleep deprived.
He's a pretty good sleeper, but still, yeah, it made me feel a little crazy.
Even her husband was skeptical, but now...
I'm sorry. I believe you.
Parks and Wildlife says this happens to a few marmots every year. They hitch a ride to lower elevations and can't survive the heat.
Whistle pigs is what we always called them, and they're always kind of cute.
up in the rocks.
It's where they belong, and Chris is hoping his live traps will help get this one back. So far, he's caught everything but the marmot, like this skunk.
I wasn't happy to see that in the morning.
He cautiously released the skunk and is still determined to save the marmot. Why are you continuing to make this effort?
Oh, we got to end the story, I think. We got to get him back home.
And a not-so-rare sighting here is Mr. Kingston is joining us today because it's National Dog Day. So he's celebrating with a chicken sandwich here. He's pumped, and he actually wanted to speak with Megan. He told me, you know, he's a little shy on air, but he told me that he wanted to know how the weather is going to be because he wants to take an extra long walk, maybe even visit the dog park today to celebrate National Dog Day. So Megan, we're here to ask you what the conditions are going to be like.
Well, you know what, Kingston? I got you, my friend, because we are going to see some temperatures actually a little bit cooler. Yeah, that's right. Oh, he's intrigued. A little bit cooler than what we saw yesterday, and we're actually going to stay dry for a little bit. All the details on all of that coming up in my full forecast. But for now, let's take a look at our pollen forecast one last time, brought to us by Allergy and Asthma Center of Western Colorado. We'll be right back.